G'day and welcome back to another pen review with the eccentric electrician. In this video I'll be reviewing another pen that's a little bit hard to come by. It's a Danitrio. Nowadays these are a fairly high market brand, and generally if you want one of their modern pens, you're going to be forking out nearly $1,000 or more for their basic models. This one is an older pen. I believe they stopped making these quite a few years ago. The company decided to go away from the cheaper end of the market, even though these pens aren't specifically cheap. So you slide it out, and it's got like a fake crocodile skin pattern. You got the gold bars, which is quite nice, and then it opens up like that. This is quite a unique package. I haven't quite had seen any that open up from either side like that until I got this one. Then inside there's a little cloth to clean your pen, and then inside is the pen itself, and then there's a little tray that pops out, and you got some cartridges in there. This pen is the Danitrio Cumlaude large version. It's a celluloid pen, which is quite nice, and yeah, so they made a few models of these. I think there's a brown, a blue, and I think it's a red, and they come in two different sizes. You've got this larger size, and then you've got a smaller size. Apart from the actual physical dimensions, I believe they're basically the same. The only difference is the grip on this one is just a tapered grip, whereas the grip on the smaller one is more of an hourglass shape. So a bit of a rundown on the pen. There's nothing on the end there, it's all just solid celluloid. The clip is quite nice, it's a nice tight clip, but still goes over your clothes quite well. Has Danitrio down the front there. There we go. So you got Danitrio. It's quite a nice reflective clip. Then it's just a general cigar-shaped barrel, quite common. You come down on your cap and you've got another gold ring, which is a separator, and then you've just got your normal cigar-shaped barrel. This celluloid is quite nice. I'll see if I can get in on that. It's quite hard to tell with the lighting in here, but it's a really nice pattern on it, and under the right light it looks absolutely gorgeous as well. It's slightly iridescent in sections, almost reminiscent of mother of pearl, and there are some sections on it where you can actually see through it. So it's a screw cap. The threads on the cap, they're pretty good. Can't really complain too much. Only a couple of turns to take it off. It does post quite securely, but that turns it into an absolute giant pen. But the cap isn't particularly heavy, being mainly celluloid. So you could use it like that, and I have done, but typically I'll use it unposted, and it's still a very decent sized pen. So this is the grip. So it's a tapered grip on the large model, and obviously on the smaller model it's got a little bit of a flare out towards the end to help you hold it. The nib is an iridium nib. It's let's get in on that one. If I can focus it in, there we go. So iridium point, German nib. Comes in a medium. Looks quite nice, this one. But yeah, quite a nice nib to get out of the box. Tapered grip, then it unscrews to reveal a standard cartridge converter. This converter is the Danitrio converter that came with it. It's actually a screw. Oh no, this one's not. Sorry, my mistake. I'm thinking of another one. Basic push-in, pull-out converter. Holds in there quite securely. It's quite a large converter that came with this one. Some of these ones, you get larger or smaller converters. I wouldn't recommend turning it to an eyedropper converter fill pen, just mainly because the threads here are metal, and obviously the ink will probably corrode the metal with a bit of time. So it's quite a nice pen. It holds a decent amount of ink. The nib's very nice. It's just a gold-toned iridium nib, steel nib. Very large though. It's, you know, if you had really small hands, you might not particularly like this pen as much. But I quite enjoy writing with it. The threads aren't intrusive at all. You can barely even feel they're there. And yeah, it's just a very nice all-round pen. I love the feel of the celluloid. There's nothing quite like it. So yeah, it's not too bad. The details for this pen are, well, price-wise, it's a hard pen to come across. So, you know, any of the older Danitrio pens, you're probably looking at between, you know, $70 and probably $200, depending on what you wanted. And in the condition that it's in, whether it's a good condition. This one's as new, there's not a single mark on it. So I paid a little bit more for this than probably I should have, but I can never resist a good celluloid pen. Capped, it's 149 millimeters. Uncapped, it's 133. Posted, it becomes an extremely large 172 millimeters. Grip diameter down near the bottom here is 12, and the barrel works up to about 15 millimeters. The weight with the cap is only 27 and a bit grams, and without the cap, it's 18.5 grams. So even though it's a very large pen, it's still very light, but that's because there's not much metal in it. It's mainly just the celluloid. I found flying with this in a plane, I didn't have it leak at all, which is quite a nice thing. And yeah, it's just been a really great pen that I've quite enjoyed, and something that is a little bit hard to come by. So I'd recommend, if you see one, it's probably worth picking it up just because you can. Add it to a collection. But yeah, there you go. So the Danitrio Cumlaude large version in brown celluloid. I'll get to the writing sample and show you what it can do. So this is the writing sample for the Danitrio Cumlaude, or however it's pronounced. Danitrio Cumlaude. This is obviously the large edition. The ink, I think, is Delta Green. Has a steel medium nib. Let's have a little bit of a writing sample. Oh, helps if I can spell. So it keeps up quite nicely. Bit of quick scribbling. No issues at all. Flex. You probably squeeze out a tiny amount. It's not a huge amount. Maybe goes from a medium to a broad. Again, it's not really flexible. It's just a little bit soft and has a little spring to it. Upside down writing. Works fairly well. It's a little bit toothy. But this pen in general, the nib on it is a little bit toothy. Probably could do with a little bit of a tune-up. I haven't really done much to it. I did slide a shim inside when I first got it, just to wetten it up a tiny bit, because it was a little bit tight. But aside from that, it's not too bad. Wetness. It's quite a wet nib now. It was a little bit dry before. I just prefer it a little bit wetter. So it's quite a nice little rider. I more bought it because of the material it's made out of, but I have seen people change these nibs out for gold nibs and all sorts of weird designs. But yeah, it's a beautiful pen. Like I said, it's special because it's celluloid rather than just acrylic or plastic. But yeah, if you find one, it's worthwhile picking up. Like I said, I don't expect the nib to be perfect, but you know it does write, works fairly well, just not perfect in a writing experience. But that's easy enough, fixed up. Bit of a tune. It might even need a little bit of a alignment. Just looking at it, might be out of alignment a tiny bit. But aside from that, it's a great little writer. So thanks for watching. Bye.